In a leaked report, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention made a surprising claim about the Delta variant of the coronavirus. It is as transmissible as chickenpox, the agency wrote in a slideshow presentation leaked to the Washington Post on July 26. Chickenpox is one of the most contagious viruses known. Each individual can spread the virus to as many as 90% of the people close to that person, the CDC reports. Is the Delta variant that contagious as well? The short answer is no, says evolutionary biologist and biostatician Tom Wenseleers at the University of Leuven. Yeah, I didn't find the CDC's statement entirely accurate, says Wenseleers, who was one of the first scientists to formally calculate the transmission advantage of the Alpha and Delta variants over the original versions of SARS-CoV-2. Nonetheless, Delta is still highly transmissible, he adds. It's probably the most contagious respiratory virus that we know, for the moment. When scientists measure a virus's transmissibility, they often use what's known as R0, or R0. It's the number of people a sick person will infect when the entire population is vulnerable to the virus. So it's the virus's potential of spreading, given ideal conditions for the virus, when no one has any immunity, says computational biologist Karthik Gangavarapu at the Scripps Research Institute. For example, the flu has an R0 of about 2. Each person infected with flu passes the virus onto 2 people on average. Some people will infect more than 2 people and some will infect fewer. But over the time, the average will be about 2. Chickenpox, on the other hand, is way more contagious, Gangavarapu says. Chickenpox has an R0 of about 9 or 10, so each person with chickenpox infects about 10 other people on average. Outbreaks are explosive. For SARS-CoV-2, the R0 has actually risen over the course of the pandemic as the virus evolved. When the coronavirus first emerged in 2019, SARS-CoV-2 was slightly more contagious than flu, Gangavarapu says. The initial COVID-19 strain had an R0 between 2 and 3. Then about a year later, the virus began to mutate quickly. The Alpha variant emerged, likely in the UK, and was more transmissible than the original strain. A few months later, the Delta variant emerged, most likely in India. It was even more transmissible than Alpha. For the Delta variant, the R0 is now calculated at between 6 and 7, Wenseleers says. So it's 2 to 3 times as contagious as the original version of SARS-CoV-2, R0 equals 2 to 3. But less contagious than the chickenpox, R0 equals 9 to 10. So why did the CDC say the Delta variant was just as transmissible as the chickenpox? For one, the leaked document underestimated the R0 for chickenpox and overestimated the R0 for the Delta variant. The R0 values for Delta were preliminary and calculated from data taken from a rather small sample size, a federal official told NPR.